excited about Magic. I'm glad we're excited about Magic. I'm glad you're excited about Magic. It's going to be a really fun weekend full of panels. We've got a lot of great Commandery goodness to get to. We've got some really, really fun retrospectives. And today, this morning, to kick it all off, we are going to make a Magic card.
All right.
And to do it, we've got a lovely cast of characters, and I'm going to introduce you to them now. Up first, Creative Director Jessica Lanzillo.
Hello!
What do you do, Jess?
I make pretty stuff and also cool words and worlds. It's rad.
She's got her magical laptop of secrets here in which she will be creating a card live on this very screen for you. So she'll be slinging some spells. Up next, the great designer himself, Ethan Fleischer.
I design the Magic sets. Whenever anyone comes up with a cool idea for a card, like you guys are going to, I crush it.
I thought that was Melissa's job, Ethan. Melissa, speaking of, Melissa DeTora down there at the end, former pro, current play designer. Melissa, what do you do?
Hi everyone, I'm on the play design team, and our team is responsible for designing our play environments like standard, draft, and all the formats that you guys love to play. We focus on competitive balance and making sure the formats are fun and diverse.
So if you've been having fun with sets like Dominaria or Modern Horizons or Core Set 2020, these are some of the fine folks who have made that all happen. So let's give them a round here, yeah? And then down here in the front, a little lower on screen, Steve Argyle. You might notice him next to that little paintbrush on Magic cards. He's kind of a big deal. In a real treat for everyone, we are going to have him drawing the card we're creating live. So normally when you draw a card in Magic, it's pretty good. It's going to be even better this time because we're literally drawing a card, okay? So who doesn't love good cantrip? So we're going to make a card. We've got a little bit of a process we're going to go through for this. Here's how it's going to work. I'm going to give you a category. We're going to kind of go down in order of a few different things we're going to do. For each category, we're going to take 3 suggestions from the audience. When I ask for suggestions, if you have one, you're going to raise your hand. Can someone in the audience demonstrate what raising your hand looks like? Oh, you're all so good and so talented. I love it. What we're not going to do is just start shouting things out at random, okay? We can all get behind this? Perfect. Excellent. So there'll also be times where I ask for polls. When I do that, I'm just going to do by show of hands, okay? So when I'm like, should we make an Urza card? Who wants that?
No.
Not a single hand goes up. Great work, everybody. Great work. All right, so who's ready to get started? You guys ready to get started?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right,
So I raise
Jess,
my hand?
let's make the magic happen. Here we go, a little behind the
I'm
scenes.
going to pull up the card on the screen.
Bam,
Here we
look at
go.
this. So today, we're making a legendary creature, okay? That's the one that we've locked in. It's Commander Weekend, makes a lot of fun. We're going to give you a lot to play with, but we're going to make a legendary creature, okay? Now, the first thing we have to figure out to make this legendary creature happen is what color is this card going to be, color or colors. Now, Ethan, talk a little bit about what that might mean for you, the Commander.
All right, so for those of you who don't play very much Commander, every deck has a color identity. You can only put cards of that color or colorless cards in your deck. So the more colors your Commander has, the more colors you can have in your deck. Your Commander defines your color identity. So when we're designing a card for Commander, we usually want to have more than one color. But it can be fun to kind of restrict yourself a little bit. If everything was 5 color, then every deck would be 5 color and they'd all kind of look the same. So it's good to find a nice balance between 0 colors and 5 colors. Yeah. And of course, their colors define what kinds of abilities you can have. You can't draw cards with a white card, for instance. You can't deal damage with a blue card, things like that.
Yeah, Melissa, anything you want to add to that? Things you think people should be thinking about while selecting their colors carefully? Really, I'm just buying time so they can think about what colors they want. So,
Yeah, I don't really have anything to add. I think Ethan summed it up pretty well. I just put numbers on cards and cost things.
Excellent. All right, well, are people ready to suggest colors? You got some ideas in mind? All right, if you have a color suggestion, raise your hand, loud and proud. Wow, your hand went up like a bullet right over here. What suggestion do you have?
Awesome.
White, black, green, Abzan. That's our first suggestion. We're going to get 3 suggestions from the audience, so white, black, green. Now, what might that mean? If you were to pick a white, black, green, what kind of stuff might we be looking at, Ethan?
Oh, well, to me that makes me think about like, oh, maybe it has a graveyard strategy, maybe it's a spirit. Yeah, could make tokens, just an idea that came to me.
All right, so that might be what we're looking ahead to with white, black, green. Another round of hands. If you got an idea, shout it up. Right in the back, all the way on this corner, yeah. Red, white, black,
All right.
Mardu. 3 color combinations rolling in today. Melissa, what might red, white, black mean?
All right, so that is like one of the most aggressive color trios, I would think. So I would think like small creatures, lots of tokens, a lot of stuff with haste and removal and direct damage and stuff like that.
All right, one more suggestion. Put up your hand. Wow, the hands went up so slow this time. Everyone's very trepidatious to be the last one. Right here in the middle. Yes, you. Red, blue.
Red, blue.
Is it? Is it? It is. Ethan, talk about is it a little bit.
Oh, red blue is a great tempo color combination. Tends to be aggressive. It wants to get your opponent's creatures out of the way. It loves instants and sorceries. There's all kinds of red-blue cards that just trigger whenever you cast an instant or sorcery or bring them back from the graveyard, things like that.
All right, so we've got 3 really great choices. We've done a great job. We covered all of the Magic colors, so no one feels left out. That's really great. We've got white, black, green, Abzan, red, white, black, Mardu, and blue, red, is it. So now it's time to vote. I'm going to call out a name of the color combination, and we're going to do this by show of hands. Most hands is what we're going with, okay? So everyone knows.
How many hands can everyone use?
1 hand per person, please. 1 hand per person. Great call out, Ethan. We're not rigging the system here. Okay, who wants it to be white, black, green? I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, great. Who wants it to be red, white, black? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, wow. Definitely red, white, black is winning right now. We've got about 10 or 11 hands. Who wants it to be blue, red? 5. Oh, it looks like red, white, black is the big winner. So we're going to be making a Mardu legend today. Perfect. Now, the next thing we're going to do, so Steve can get rolling on drawing this gorgeous, gorgeous creature, is figure out the creature type. Okay? So we got to figure out what creature type this is going to be. And that will determine a lot about the creature. Jess, do you want to talk for maybe a moment about what a creature type might mean for a legendary creature?
Sure. Typically what we look at is when a card comes in from card design, pile of math, and we say, oh, where are we sitting at in the creature grid for this world, right? Do we have, what does our 2/2 blue flyers look like here, right? So we'll go ahead and make sure that has a nice world building spin on it, and we're not just arbitrarily choosing things that aren't working within the standard environment and don't feel natural to the world.
Right, and of course, as just mentioned, like the creature grid of doing big creatures and small creatures is very important. So if we choose a goblin, for example, it'll probably be smaller.
Yep.
If you choose a dragon, it'll probably be bigger, right? So those are some things to be thinking about when you're picking these creature types.
And of course, your color is going to influence what creature types are reasonable here too. Like we probably wouldn't have a merfolk or an elf here because it's not a blue card or a green card.
Mm-hmm.
Right, great call out. Yeah, so think about what creature types you will normally find in red, white, and black as you're about to suggest them. So are there some ideas out there? Okay, here we go. Let's choose a creature type. Raise your hands if you have an idea for a creature type on this. Right here, red in the front. Yeah. Yeah, you. A kobold.
Yeah.
All right.
I like this guy.
Interesting.
All right. This guy's got some ideas. Okay, what's another suggestion? Raised hand. Yellow shirt in the back. Nightmare. Ooh.
Yeah.
That's great. Now, kobolds and nightmares. We got room for one more. Raise some hands. Let's go black shirt, second row. Yes. Cleric. Okay, so we got kobolds, nightmares, and clerics. 3 very different tastes that go well together. Ethan, what might each of these mean?
So to me, the defining feature of a kobold is that it's really small. Most of the kobolds we've done in the past cost 0 mana and were 0/1 creatures with no abilities. If
Powerful.
we're doing a 3-color card here, we could try to make it 0 mana, or we could try to make it 3 mana. Anyway, that's interesting. Nightmares. We've had a lot of different abilities on nightmares, right? Terrifying creatures. Sometimes they attack the mind. Sometimes they can temporarily deal with things, right? Back in Torment or whatever we did that. And then, sometimes they are just huge and fly. And then clerics generally tend to heal things, right? Gain life, prevent damage, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, totally. Now, Melissa, another thing you could do potentially is you could merge some of these creature types, right? Like Cleric, for example, is a class. So another option could be, for example, Kobold Cleric.
Yeah, right. We could have a Kobold Cleric Nightmare. I don't really know what is that a type or is that a class? Like, can you be like a Goblin Nightmare? Probably.
Can you get a
I would believe
can
that.
Cleric Nightmares exist, Jess?
Yeah.
We'll throw it to you.
It really depends on the world building.
A strong creative answer. I like it. All right, well, we're going to go by show of hands here. Who wants Kobold? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 or so. Who wants Nightmares? 3 votes for Nightmares. And who wants Clerics? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay.
7.
Looks like Kobold's winning.
All right,
so we're going to go with Kobold. Now, we could either do a straight Kobold or a Kobold Cleric. If you would prefer a Kobold Cleric, we get over half the audience, we'll go Kobold Cleric. If you want Kobold Cleric, hands up now. Wow, everyone in the audience wants Kobold Cleric. That's wonderful. All right, Steve, so we've got a red, white, black Kobold Cleric coming right at you. I don't know what this is going to be, but I'm excited to start next year's Commander design already. I'll tell you that much.
Totally.
Okay, so now what we've got to do is come up with abilities. Now, abilities have to be created very carefully, and a really good rule of thumb is to not try and do too much with your abilities. So, Melissa, do you want to talk a little bit about how we choose abilities for cards and what might go into a good ability to get everyone thinking about what might show up on this?
Yeah, sure. So this is a Kobold, so I'm thinking aggressive abilities. So we can have things like First Strike or Double Strike. It could make small tokens. It could have attack triggers. That would make a lot of sense. When I think of Clerics, I think of like life gain and healing. So it could be lifelink. But think of like, I want to attack with this every turn, so what kind of abilities do I want to have on this guy when I'm always getting this into combat?
Totally, and we'll go with non-keyword abilities first, and then figure out the keyword abilities, so be thinking in your head what we might want to do here. And Ethan, in general, from a design perspective, what are some great kind of things to think about as you're designing abilities? For example, not making them too long or other things.
In general, I find that it's best for a Magic card to do one thing and do it really well, rather than have a huge laundry list of abilities. And then for a 3-color card, it can be a challenge to try to find an ability that encompasses all 3 colors. Usually it's best to like find one really good ability, and then if it's like, it doesn't quite feel red enough, we'll like add a red keyword. We'll add haste to it or something just to get it there. So it's not always necessary to get all 3 colors in this main ability. We can kind of patch it with the keyword ability later.
Perfect. Okay. Does anyone out there have an idea already for this? Kobold Cleric, right in the back. Yes. Oh, back there. Can we get a mic on someone in the back or someone to...
Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to attacking creatures.
Cool.
The
Cool.
suggestion.
That's a neat line.
Like
Prevent
all
all combat
attacking
damage will be dealt to
creatures?
attacking creatures. So it lets you attack, has that cleric thing going on a little bit. Yeah. Probably you control. Maybe it's a kobold, though, so it plays on all sides. Who's to say, really? Attack all the time. Attack all the time. Okay, great suggestion. Thank you so much. Okay, who has another suggestion? Let's go right here in the front. Yeah. Target attacking creature can't be blocked, probably with a tap ability or an activated mana ability on there of some kind.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. All right, and then anyone else for, yes, right here in the middle, yes. So whenever you gain life, this creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each life that you gain. So it's about, you gain life and it gets bigger. It's a really swole kobold. He like sucks up the life and becomes stronger himself. Swobold, yes. We got our name already. Smobold the Bold. Kobolds are not very original. Okay, so what we've got, name not final, but it's important to have a playtest name to talk about things with, perhaps. Okay, so we've got 3 abilities here. We've got all of your attacking creatures, prevent all damage to all of your attacking creatures.
Yeah, I think so.
All of your attacking creatures. We've got an ability to make, there it is, Low Wall of the Bold. We've got the ability to make attacking creatures unblockable, And then we've got this great ability to get bigger for all the life you've gained. So do you want to talk at all about what that might mean for the costing of this card, Melissa?
So does it have all 3 abilities?
Yeah,
or
how do you
should
do
I
that?
No, just like talk about
one?
what each one might mean for mana cost, yeah.
Okay, yeah, so for preventing all damage to attacking creatures, that's a really powerful ability, and if that gets going really early in the game, it could just like take over a game, and the opponent might be in a situation where they can never block. So I would start that card at like maybe 4 or so mana. The next one, target creature can't block this turn. Can a Mardu guide even do that? I'm not totally sure, but that
Target attacking creature can't be blocked this turn. Yeah, Mardu can do that.
Oh yeah, target attacking creature. Yeah, sure. Okay. So it's affecting one attacking creature. Like that ability sounds a little on the weak side. So I would like, if that was say an activated ability, for example, I would probably like make it cost not too much, maybe like 2 mana or something. If it was a tap, probably just tap with no mana.
Yeah, I think we could do that for a mana activation, and then you could do multiples if you have enough mana, right?
Yeah, definitely. It could also be on an attack trigger.
Yeah.
And then I would not charge anything for that. That would just be attack, make something else unblockable or something. The last one, 1+1/+1 per life gained this turn. That sounds like if you build your deck in the right way, that sounds really powerful. So I would probably make that cost maybe starting at about 5 mana, but depending on the stats, it could cost more.
Cool. All right, well, now it's time to vote. We've got 3 great choices for everybody. So we're going to do it by hands again. So think, I know it's going to be hard. Rank them in your head, get ready to go. Who would prefer the first ability to prevent all combat damage to your attacking creatures? I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 votes. Who wants some kind of unblockable making kobolds? I count 1 vote. Well, I feel like I know what's happening here. Who wants to get bigger for every life you've gained this turn? Bam, and in a landslide.
That's
So
a nice one.
Swobold the Bold is beginning. So this is our playtest names begin, by the way. So whenever you gain life, card name gets +X+X, where X is the amount of life you've gained. And interestingly, in design, we use card name as like placeholder for this will be the card's name. Just a fun little placeholder there.
+X until end of turn.
Great call, until end of turn. Now, I feel like a couple things are going on here. Ethan, would you say this is fully encapsulating Mardu, or is it missing something?
It definitely feels a little heavy on the white, and to a lesser extent the black, and doesn't feel red at all, right? Because red can never gain life. It never makes a life gain spell on its own. So I feel like it needs something to red it up a little bit.
Right, so I feel like what we're going to want to do is add probably at least a red keyword ability to this, right? So what are some classic red keyword abilities, Melissa, that you might want to use here?
All right, so red keyword abilities are haste, first strike, trample, double strike.
Menace.
Menace, yep, definitely menace. Did I miss any?
Yeah, those are all good ones. So we've got a couple different options here. I'm just going to really quickly from the audience get 3 suggestions for what it could be. Yeah, right down here in the front. Menace from you. Yellow in the back. Double strike. And blue shirt in the back. Skulk. Oh, an interesting a rogue choice. A skulk, if you can't remember, it can't be blocked by creatures with power greater than it.
Right.
That's skulk. So we've got menace. We have double strike. Is that what I heard? Menace, double strike, and skulk. Okay, these are all great. Red. Skulk's a little more black than red admittedly, but we'll let it slide. Who would prefer menace on this? Pretty hardy group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Who would prefer double strike on this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Who wants skulk on this? All right, middle ground. This looks like menace. That sounds great. Menace is also black and red, so that fits in pretty well. Okay, this looks like a pretty reasonable commander. Like I would build around a card like this. Melissa and Ethan, do you think this needs anything more, or can we start going into the next steps? Figuring out mana costs and so on.
I think this looks pretty good. We're going to want to leave room for flavor text, right?
Absolutely.
Always.
Love it.
Yeah, so one thing about this is it doesn't do anything on its own, so you have to build around it, right?
Yeah.
So like it
That's
doesn't
great
gain life by itself.
That's great for a commander, though, because it implies what kind of deck you should build, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we love building commanders that point you in a direction, right? It's like, oh, clear. I should put a bunch of my life gain spells together and all of my Angel's Grace is turned into +7/+7 tricks, and it's totally sweet. Okay, so now it's time to get into the knob turning portion of the festivities. Melissa, give us 3 different options for mana cost and power toughness combinations on this.
Yep. So as I said,
and I'm going to challenge you to make one of them 0.
Oh no.
Is that ridiculous, Ethan?
A 0 mana cost for this?
Probably ridiculous, right?
You would have to write on here, this card is red, white, and black, and
Well,
that might not fit.
The color identity blip, right, on the type line.
All right. Maybe not 0. But Melissa, give us 3 good options.
Is the power level too high if it's 0 mana?
All right, so if it's 0 mana, it would have to be a 1/1 because a 0/0 is just sad. It means
What
like
about a
you would need,
0/1?
you would
It
need
could
like
be
a
a 0/1.
glorious anthem and player. Oh, it could be a 0/1, I guess.
That's traditional
Sure.
for kobolds.
So would it be too too high on power level for commander? I would say like maybe it's actually fine. If it was for standard, I would say yes, this is a little too high on power level. Like people are just going to be jamming a bunch of these in their deck and gaining a whole bunch of life, and things are going to maybe get out of control. But yeah, like maybe 0 is actually reasonable. It's weird, but
I'm a genius, everybody. All right, so Melissa, so we'll say 0 mana 0/1 as one option.
Yeah, I will actually give one option as 0 mana 0/1.
Okay, what are 2 other options?
This is so weird. Okay. All right, so another option is so as I said, you do have to build around this. It doesn't really get its synergy going by itself. So I would want to start it on the lower end, so you can get this into play and actually start, playing lightning cards to make this big. So I would say 3 mana, and it has menace. 3 mana 2/2.
Okay, 3 mana 2/2 is one option.
Well, how am I ever going to top the 0 mana 0/1 though?
Well, your third suggestion better be pretty good. Juice it up, Melissa. Here we go.
Okay, so I wouldn't want to go too much mana on this because then the card just starts looking pretty lame. So I guess the next place to go is 4 mana 3/3.
4 mana 3/3. All right. So we've got 3 options. We've got 0 mana 0/1, red, white, black 2/2, and 1 red, white, black 3/3. Those are all options.
Yep.
We're going to take it to a vote and see what people want to do. Who wants 1 red, white, black 3/3? Who wants red, white, black 2/2? Okay, we got a healthy dose, about 6 votes. Who wants 0 mana 0/1?
Right.
Yeah, I've created a
I knew
monster.
I knew it.
This is what happens when I work with development. Sometimes I'm just like, nah, how about this? And they're like, oh no, what has he done?
I blame the Legends design team.
Yes, straight from the Legends design team on this one. Okay, so we've got 0 mana 0/1. Now, normally we might consider putting a color indicator on the card for that. I'm not sure if we even have. We didn't prepare for this eventuality.
Yeah, no.
We're a bunch of monsters over here. So we're gonna have to just type out. I think this card is red, white, and black, old school style,
school.
right?
Yeah.
Just like the Legends design team intended.
Just like the Legends design team intended, right? So that will go above the menace. This card is red, white, and black. We can even put it in parentheses, knowing there would be a color indicator on this if we wanted to. Okay, well, talk about a wild-looking Magic card we've made here. We've got great abilities. We've got a weird mana cost and power toughness combination. We've got a commander maybe you'd be excited to build around. Who would build around this? Yeah, a bunch of people excited to build around this. But now we got to get into the creative part of this. So we've got, I'll give you a hint, Swobold the Bold, probably not the final name for this card. So let's figure out what a name might be for this. What an actual name that's not Swobold the Bold might be for this. Ethan, you're really deep into creative. Do you want to give a bit of thought about what it might go into a name, what goes into a good name?
Well, it needs to be pronounceable because people use these game pieces in games, and if they can't pronounce it, they're going to pronounce it wrong, and it's going to sound weird. It should imply something about the identity of the card. Tell a little story about this character, right? Because we don't have a lot of room for flavor text. We have a little bit, but the name implies a lot of things about his culture and his personality.
And Jess, what would you say goes into a good name?
Well, usually I kind of think of commanders a little bit differently, where I feel like they can have a little more pizzazz than a typical Magic card or a typical Magic card name. So whereas a lot of times I'm, really just deep in the lore, trying to be like, what is the most like appropriate name for this character and their culture? Here I'll kind of like pan back a little bit and say, what's the most fun thing to say at a table when you're playing Commander, right?
Swivel. I don't know what came over me there. That's
I know, it's very strange.
I've had this weird swivel allergy. All right. Anyone out there have ideas for a name for this? If you have an idea for a name, raise your hand up high. Black shirt in the back, yeah.
Just
Swobold.
Not the bold.
Swobold. Now, why do we often put appellations on our legendary characters, Jess?
So that we can, use shorthand so that we can reprint them multiple times so that they can have a character that has legs, right? Like, plus it's just the standard naming procedure at this point. If you have someone who is just coming in and being like, I'm Joe, it's going to feel really strange when, Ragnar, the, raggiest or whatever shows up. Like, okay, Joe. It doesn't feel right at the table.
Well, and also, too, in later sets, it means you can bring them back with a different appellation.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, I know I get the Swobold the Bold, the Swobold the Brave,
Yep.
and I can get that.
And you get that character progression, which is super cool. Our legends, we focus on the Planeswalkers a lot, but a lot of our legends have, like, the ability to come back over and over and over again, and they really have that nice progression, too. And who knows, maybe they can even become a Planeswalker in Spark one day. So we want to be able to have all of those abilities at hand.
Kobold Planeswalker win.
This is your chance today, audience. And
20
you messed it up.
yeah.
Okay, so we've got Swobold as an actual name for this card. Who has another suggestion from the audience? Hands up if you have a suggestion for a name for this. Right here. Yes, sir. Can you say that again? Sorry. Curdlemac. Curdlemac. Absolutely.
Turtlemac.
Curdlemac. Curdlemac. So we've got
like it.
Swobold. We've got Curdlemac. It's just slamming words together. So who's got a letter combination they like? Swobold, Kermac, and from another raised hand. Blue shirt in the back, yeah. Pike.
Nice.
Swobold, Curdlemac, and Pike. 3 great names. We got the suggestion from the audience of Carekeep as a great appellation.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it'll be this of Carekeep. I love that, right? That's
Right.
super
A lot of famous kobolds are from Carekeep.
Absolutely. Okay, so we're going to now go to voting. Who wants Swobold of Carekeep? Oh, 4 or 5. What have I done?
Oh, they've fallen in love with the playtest name again.
A classic error. Who wants Curdlemac? 3 votes, 4 votes. And who wants Pike?
K-H-E-R.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. All right, looks like Swobold of Carekeep is what we're going to go with now. I can't believe it. I feel like you make the card, but I just made that name. I feel so proud of myself right now. This is great. When you come up with a name as original and as deft as Swobold, though, it's very hard to...
Swobold, the kobold. Who could imagine such a thing?
And to be fair, Kobold's not the brightest, right? So they might give some... They could name someone Swobold. That's all I'm
Have you guys
saying.
looked over at what Steve's drawing? It's pretty
Oh my
phenomenal.
gosh, that's amazing.
I love Swobold
Ooh, I like
so
that
much.
eye.
All right. We're just getting Commander 2020 done that much easier. Like, this is one card we're ready to go with. Okay, now it's time for something very important. No card is finished until we give it a nice hit of flavor text. And especially on a legend, flavor text is extremely important because it, once again, communicates a little bit about that. Ethan spoke to this a little bit earlier. Melissa, anything on flavor text you want to say?
I'm not a flavor text person, really. Like, if you were to say, hey, name this flavor text, I would not have any idea.
What about your favorite flavor text? Do you have a favorite flavor text?
That's a great question. I've always liked Catch from
Oh yeah.
Lava
Axe.
Axe. Like that's a classic. But honestly, I don't know many of them.
I mean, there's
That's
a
so
few
sad.
There's a few directions you can go in. You can have a catchy one-word phrase. You can have a quote from the character. You can have a little tiny story about them. But we don't have a lot of space to play with here. We have maybe 1, maybe 2 lines. Jess, anything on flavor text you want to say? What makes a good piece of flavor text?
I mean, usually we kind of balance out, obviously, oh my gosh, you just put every single possible like mechanical word on this card. We don't have a lot of room. So we are taking that into consideration so your type doesn't get super, super tiny, and then we're like just overwhelming you with flavor, and you're like, but I can't play this. This is super annoying. But we're always trying to find like connective tissue throughout the set, right? So tying the character back to, another character or moment or item or location. That's always super awesome. Or starting to just do a little bit of character building for that. So giving it a sense of mystery and hey, I want to know a little bit more about the history of this character.
Perfect. Okay. Now, flavor text, very important. I'm sure we have a bunch of brilliant minds out there who are ready to suggest flavor text. This is your opportunity to get flavor text on a Magic card. Raise your hands up high if you've got an idea. Red shirt in the front. Your hand was up first.
This is no legends, quotation mark.
He's no legend?
This is no legend.
Oh, this is no legend. This is no legend is the first suggestion. Okay, this is no legend. All right, perhaps telling a little bit about himself in that sense. It's in quotation marks, so I think he's saying it. He's saying this is no legend.
Legends with
Capital
Oh,
L.
with the capital L. This is no legends.
Like the set.
All right.
No legends. Okay, perfect. Can I get another suggestion from a raised hand out in the audience? Yeah, you second in right there, curly hair. What was that? Sorry. Ultra bold.
Ultra bold.
Ultra
Yeah.
bold. Oh,
that
I like
with a hyphen?
riffing on a bold pun here. That's pretty clever, right? Okay, and one more suggestion from a raised hand. Let's go green shirt right here. Care keeps best cleric.
Nice.
Okay.
Only
Care keeps only cleric. Yeah, I like that twist. I wonder what happened to all the other clerics. So a good flavor text will often inspire laughter or a great memory. So that's a nice one. Okay, so we've got this is no legends. We've got I didn't write the second one down. Help me, Melissa.
Ultra bold.
Ultra bold and care keeps only cleric. We're gonna vote on these now. Okay, who wants? This is no legends. Not no hand. Even the person who submitted it has struck it down in favor of another option. Who wants ultra bold? Even the person who submitted it has struck it down in favor of another option. We could put hands up for the third one. Who wants care keeps only cleric?
All
The
right.
whole audience votes in this favor. Unanimous love. Care keeps only cleric. Okay. Yeah, definitely. Definitely
caps,
like that.
yeah.
All caps. Extremely important to do this. Now, the last step I want to get into, or second to last step, is we do a templating pass. We've got a whole team called the Delta team, and their job is to make sure that the card reads properly, that there's no errors on it. So there's none of them up here right now. We're going to do our best Matt Tabak and Del Loggle impersonations and try and figure this out. So looking at this card, I see a few things we may want to tweak. For example, sometimes after the name, we'll put a comma.
Yep.
So Swobold of Carekeep versus Swobold, comma of Carekeep.
And this would normally be how we would template for anything that would have the extension on the name. However, it's kind of telling you they're of a place rather than like giving them an eponymous, tag on the end. So I'm not sure if it's necessary.
Yeah, I don't think we want a comment.
No comma. All right, great thing that we talked about. This is the nitty-gritty behind-the-scenes stuff, by the way. Next thing I see as a potential thing to discuss is in the rules text. I think it's whenever you gain life, Swobold gets +X until end of turn, not gains.
Oh,
Yeah, I think that's
that's
correct.
true.
+X until end of turn, where X is the amount of life you gained. Perfect. That all look good to. Do we need the appellation in the rules text because it's the first time it appears?
Yeah, I believe that is the traditional way, is to put the full card name in the rules text the first time it appears, and then just use the first name in subsequent mentions.
All right. And care keeps only cleric, all in caps. We don't often use all in caps in flavor text, but maybe we'll let it slide this time. What do you two think?
Yeah, I think it sells the joke a lot better.
Perfect. Well, look at this gorgeous Magic card. Only one thing left to do, and that's to give it a rarity. Now, I think there's 3 options here. It's not common. I think you could talk about uncommon, rare, or mythic rare. And Ethan, talk to us for a second about what that might mean.
Well, an uncommon card is going to be an important card in Limited because it'll show up fairly often. So if we want this to be something that is supported in draft or sealed play, then uncommon could be a good place for it to be. Rare is a great place for wacky cards to live, because they won't show up in every draft, but you can still get them for constructed. And then Mythic Rare is a great place for something that maybe we think is too strong, it would ruin a draft game or something, or if it was like a really important character.
Yeah, Melissa, anything from play design you want to add on to that?
Yeah, sure. So one thing that I look for is complexity for determining rarity. So if a card has like a lot of words, a lot of abilities, and a lot going on, you definitely don't want to add common, and even uncommon. You really have to like consider how often is this going to show up in draft, and how often, like, what will players get confused by about this card, and stuff like that. And also, like, for the wackiness, like, this card to me looks like a directional build around uncommon for draft, but the 0 mana just looks kind of outrageous to me. So, and it doesn't like do anything by itself. So I could also believe rare on this card too.
It can chump block by itself.
It can chump block, right? That's true. It can also attack and not be blocked by more than one creature. by one creature.
Okay, so now we're going to take it to a vote between uncommon, rare, and mythic rare, and you're going to tell us which one you want, okay? So we're going to start from the bottom and work our way down. Who wants this to be a mythic rare card? 2 votes out there. Who feels like this should be a rare? Wow, basically everybody. And just because I'm a completist, who wants this to be an uncommon? Not a single human. Well, sounds like that does it. So we've got rare for Swobold of Karakeep. We'll get that little rare symbol in here. Look at this nice little swoosh mark, little Gen Con swoosh. And I think we're almost there, but there's one final touch we need to put on. It's very important. We've got Steve Argyle down here. Give him a round of applause for all his hard work he's done. Great work, Steve. The piece isn't finished, he's going to keep working on it, but we, of course, need to make sure the artist is properly credited on the card. So let's get Steve's name in here. Look at that great name. Now, he did more than a black box. You'll see this in its full glory later online. And we'll put a little, got the little rare thing in right there. And that's it. Everyone, we made a Magic card.
Nice.
You guys did great. This is awesome. I love this card.
I love it. And now we're only 238 more cards away from a full set.
All right, so if you guys could stay here for the next, 6 weeks or so, we can get the set done. We'll be all set.
All right, well, I think that about concludes the panel. Thank you all so much for coming out. This was a great start to our Gen Con festivities. Please come back a little later today if you haven't already gotten a ticket to see Commander 2019 as we show off a ton of hot new stuff from the new Commander set and show off some real Magic cards that you'll probably be excited by. But on behalf of Jess Lanzillo, Ethan Fleischer, Melissa DeTora, and Steve Argyle, thank you for coming, making this great card. You'll be able to catch it online, tell your friends, and have a great Gen Con. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.